toke pamo. Mountain back to Atlantic Ocean. Obomi Hills to Pocondre. To educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah. Focus on Liberia. For Liberia, Liberia. For Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday. It's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs. Hey. In diaspora. Current affairs. Reliable information. History. Talking about culture. Politics. Education. Entertainment. Business. Sports. Advertisement. Articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Ja.
And I am Anthony Sied. A pleasant welcome to the Hour of Politics here at Focus on Liberia. And as you may well know, I'm your host. The nation Liberia remains the focus. I continue to say, and why not, by the way, a nation that we share. That is our responsibility individually and collectively to do for our people in that nation until it can get to a better place. And then we can all share in that pride of that nation, Liberia. And I can't welcome you enough to yet another analytical edition of the Hour of Politics here with me. The topic is always succinct. The Unity Party is in charge, and so the focus will be on Liberia, and more so through the Unity Party, because the Unity Party is in charge of the affairs of the state. I love the country Liberia. It's a promise of hope. And I am happy to be a Liberian. It's a unique country. It has been going through trials. It has endured it all. Its people are resilient group of people. And so, folks, if this is your first time running into this broadcast with me, this Hour of Politics, I encourage you to not waste time to share. And I think I have something to share that you would like. And I'm sure you're going to like what I have to share on the analysis. Chairman J. Luther Tarpeh is the chairman of the Unity Party, the political party that is in power. Yesterday was the 24th of September, 2024. And he had a press conference and said a lot of interesting things. And I want to bring my little analytical skills to all that he had to say, to make sense of it, to dissect it, and so that we can understand whether or not this party has its focus on the people and the nation Liberia. Because the chairman is the one through whom the party speaks. Is that's the case, actually? Well, I will share something with you before I go to the analysis. On the 26th of this year, July 26th, to be specific, I, like many people, express my Independence Day message to all of us and to our dear country, Liberia. And I think I want to share with you that which I wrote on my Facebook page. I wrote, July 26, 2024. Happy Independence Day. It's July 26 again, and you stand, talking about the nation Liberia, born of freedom and of hope. I wrote, you are a story passed to us from arches of struggle, the promise to noble might, once a beacon of hope, today lacking backwards, the travesty of complex truths, pronounced and profound, a thread of progress, frail by discourse, entwined, failed economic growth, the promise of prosperity, failing to reach every fold, heavy burdens on our shoulders, inequality and injustice abound, the scar of war still visible, yet we persevere and resilient. We are strong and unwavering, a testament of courage and grace. As we celebrate, I wrote on our faithful day, may unity and peace guide us. May our leaders be wise, our people tenacious ever, for Liberia's future, a brighter story yet to be told. Happy Independence Day, Liberia. May our flag fly ever, a symbol of freedom, the spirit of hope, a nation that endures. I thought to share this poem I wrote as my Independence Day message to my people and my country, just to inspire you and imbue in you the spirit of nationalism and patriotism that we all need to exercise as we contribute individually and collectively to this nation called Liberia, given to us by God. We have a song here, I focus on Liberia, that say, God has given us this nation, Liberia. And so, folks, what I want you to pick up from this message I wrote is that our leaders should be wise. Our leaders should be serious. I don't believe the leaders that have been leading us have been serious, have been intentional about this nation, Liberia. They have been selfish. They have been small-minded. They have not been leaders with vision to move the nations forward. And so with that, we come to the topic for today, analysis of UP Chairman Luther Tarpeh's press conference. Chairman Luther Tarpeh had a press conference yesterday. Someone might say he came swinging, and it's like he was unhappy about the Liberian men would say the trajectory of this current administration. But his press conference was on a particular subject, a particular event that happened. The Commerce Minister of Liberia, Mr. Amu Mada, is being in the news of recently because he rides a car that is far above 96,000 United States dollars. And don't forget, the government of today is called the rescue government. The nation Liberia was in distress, and the rescue team came to rescue us because Liberia was in not only economic distress, political distress, leadership distress. Liberia was in peril if you look at all the social fabrics of our nation. And so there was a need for that nation, Liberia, to be rescued. And so they coined the term rescue mission. And so the rescuers got to business hoping that they will be able to hit the ground running to start rescuing the Liberian people. But Mr. Tarpeh may be getting a sense now that instead of they as a political institution using the institution of government to rescue the people, is like they are rescuing themselves. They are taking care of themselves. They are allotting for themselves benefits and salaries, if you like, that actually suggests that this whole mission is more about rescuing government officials as opposed to the people for whom they launched the rescue mission and for whom they came to rescue this nation, Liberia. So in his press conference, he registered his disgust, his disapproval, his unhappiness with Ami Munda. The story is there was over 100,000 United States dollar luxury car that was purchased by the Liberian government and is being used by Minister Ami Munda. Now, the money for this car came from a business in Liberia called Metec. Metec is an investment in Liberia. It was able to release $96,000 through the LRA, the Liberia Revenue Authority, for the purchase of a car that the Minister of Commerce, Ami Munda, uses today. Chairman Tarpeh feels that this resembles a textbook definition of corruption, that this is a demonstration of gross insensitivity. How can a $100,000 car or more than $100,000 car be used by a so-called rescue minister of government when the people have not been rescued yet? Where is the indignation coming from Mr. Tarpeh? Is this the first time this is happening? Where has Mr. Tarpeh been? But let us go to Mr. Tarpeh's words. Let me summarize his press conference right away, and then I'll bring you the analysis. Mr. Tarpeh expressed concern over corruption allegations. By that, the allegations against Mr. Munda are deeply concerning, he said, not only for our partisans, but for the entire nation. So he said this corruption allegation is not only concerning for them as partisans of Unity Party, but also for the nation Liberia. He's expressing disapproval and unhappiness and, indignations here. So one might be thinking, is this the first time this thing is happening? For which the chairman is speaking now. He had to call a press conference in the first place. Let's leave that. He also mentioned that the honeymoon is over. Really? What honeymoon? So here's the thing. I see a sharp contradiction here. So this chairman presided over a rescue operation to rescue the Liberian people. I'm not sure the Liberian people have been rescued here, because all of the vices that were in place for which there needed to be a rescue mission chaired by this chairman, those vices are still in motion, impacting the living conditions of our people. So how could there be a honeymoon when a rescue operation has just started? We are into 9 months now, if my calculation is not mistaken. So can you be on a rescue mission and then have honeymoon period when the mission is yet to be completed? Chairman Tarpeh, You have to explain to us your definition of honeymoon, the period of the honeymoon, the reason for the honeymoon. So hear me well here. Maybe we should believe Chairman Tarpeh that there was a honeymoon period. So what was happening during the honeymoon period, one may ask? When did the honeymoon period get over or ended? And during the honeymoon period, what was allowed to happen? Because if you look at Chairman Tarpeh's position that the honeymoon is over, no corruption should be allowed, it suggests to me that the honeymoon was that anybody could carry on any corrupt act and it will be okay. During the honeymoon period, an official of government could decide to do whatever he or she pleases. And so that person could have that honeymoon. I would want to believe that is the suggestion the chairman is trying to make here, because that's what his position here implies. And why do I say so? You might want to know. Because a lot of things have happened that resemble corruption, and the chairman was quiet. For example, when President Bouakai was elected, while he was then president-elect, the office of the president-elect has sent a communication to NASCA, National Social Security and Welfare Corporation, where they took out thousands of dollars and secured cars for the use of the president-elect when we had a sitting president. By law or government stay in place by law that will have the legal authority to procure vehicles for the use of any government officials. But then, while Chairman Tarpeh was chairman, the man who was in charge of the office of the president-elect, Mr. Sylvester Gillespie, acted and secured cars from NASCA. So they went to a government entity and took money and got cars in violation of our laws. Where was Chairman Tarpeh? Chairman Tarpeh did not say anything. I would think that was honeymoon period. So Chairman Tarpeh is telling us that anything unlawful, anything corruption in nation could happen or has happened or was happening during the honeymoon period. And because it was honeymoon period, they could just do as they will please, and no one dare say something, let alone hear the chairman could not say anything about it because it was a honeymoon period. Because if that is not the honeymoon period he's talking about, then we need the chairman to come and explain to us what honeymoon he's talking about when you are on a rescue operation. Hospitals are death traps, schools are in shambles, people have not been taking pay. Our institutions are crumbling. One sector to another is either near, dead, or little progress being made whatsoever. So what honeymoon this chairman was talking about? Here's the thing. I disagree with the chairman on his honeymoon explanation here, because this very chairman, we saw him at President Bouakai's house. He went to protest. That was when he has not been given a job. That time he has not gotten a job. He went to the president's house and he was protesting. So the question is, was that the time the honeymoon ended? Or was it during that very honeymoon period when he was protesting for job? Or is it that when he was given a job as chairman of the board at the National Port Authority, that was when the honeymoon started? Because at some point you were protesting. I do not know at what point there was a honeymoon, by the way. How you dare come on a rescue mission and you tell us about honeymoon? So the chairman need to come clean on what honeymoon meant or is. So there was a honeymoon. So during the honeymoon time, anything could happen. That is why the chairman position is implied. And yet what happened again, people? The LTA have been on a show of bad behavior. The LTA was uncovered that officials there are making so much money that a commissioner generator will be costing about $3,000 to run the generator a month. A driver at LTA is making $700 when a teacher makes less than $150, when police officer makes about $180, if I'm not mistaken, a nurse far less than what that driver is making. The compensations at that institution, very, very alarming. That was the honeymoon, so Chairman Tarpeh could not say anything. But here's the thing. At some point, the Tarpeh Unity Party government felt that the officials that were there, appointed by President Weah, were involved in corruption by allotting to themselves unbelievable compensations. So they launched an investigation, and the investigation established that there was acts of corruption being carried on. And so the president tried to remove them. The Supreme Court stopped him because the Supreme Court said they were turning. But then the president summoned us and suspended them and removed them and put his own people. His own people came there and then continued the same salary scheme or benefit scheme. Some of them making $8,000, generator costing $3,000 a month, and so on and so forth. They get in the scratch cards and all that, while a teacher in Liberia makes about $150, and it's not even on time. And at the schools, and teachers and nurses have zero benefits. And these people are riding the best of cards. In fact, one of the former commissioners at LTA confirmed that they were even making 15,000 United States dollars. Where was the chairman at the time? The chairman did not say anything when his own Unity Party officials took over, because it was the honeymoon period. Can we ask that question? So, honeymoon period, right? I don't know what the chairman is talking about. The chairman went further by calling for transparency. It's important for Minister Munda to come forward with proof that he had no involvement in the allegation of misuse of funds. He's calling on the chairman to come and clear his name. Did he call on Patrick Hanna to come and clear his name? Did he call on Sylvester Grisby to come and clear his name? Did he ever call on the Unity Party Secretary General, Amos Stewart, when he too, there was noise about something at the MPA? Did he call on him? No, he did not. Why? Apparently, they were on a honeymoon. Hello? Now, another thing happened. And then there's another one. And then the chairman said nothing. And now it came to Ami Moda. The chairman is having a press conference. And the chairman is telling us that the honeymoon was over. And the chairman is telling us that, this allegation concerning Ami Moda did not only deeply concerning to Palestinians, but also to the nation Liberia. He went on by saying, no tolerance for corruption. Our fight against corruption is unwavering, he said. Any official found guilty of corruption practices will face the full weight of the law. Yeah. Chairman Tarpeh. The chairman is strong. In Liberia, they would say. So if anybody, the thing I want to bring here is that Chairman Tarpeh has a right to say whatever he wants to say. And one of the things he said on the issue of accountability is that we cannot allow these allegations to be swept under the rug. Chairman Tarpeh said these allegations will not be swept under the rug. There have been other allegations in the past. We heard about a gentleman agreement that some officials of this government, on their own, without the involvement of the legislature, committed the Liberian government and the nation Liberia to a deal for 285 yellow machines. And in President Waka's own words, that was a gentleman agreement. It was in violation of our laws. It was in violation of the separation of powers. And yet, the chairman had nothing to say. There was a very chairman that went to protest at the president's house. And the president is talking about gentleman agreement. No country runs on a gentleman agreement. Today, we don't know the status of this gentleman agreement. Another thing was there was a $222 million for road rehabilitation. Now, there's no clarity. We didn't see the chairman. Maybe that was during the honeymoon period. Another one is the inaugural fund, right? So after the United Party won, President Joseph Boakai, I don't know where he got that money from. He made several thousands of dollars available for the celebration of his inauguration, and that each electoral district in Liberia needed to celebrate his inauguration. The rescue president wanted a celebration, for he has won and has made available money. And what happened to that money? The United Party, through Chairman Tarpeh, made a decision that the party, United Party executives needed to be part of that celebration. They snatched few thousands of dollars from the county's money or the district's money for their own celebration. And that was done under a cloud of corruption. That was during the honeymoon period, I want to believe. Hello? Now, another thing we should remind you, there was about almost $500,000 made available for the inauguration program of the president. The committee was chaired by my entire family. We can all agree that the inauguration was a disgrace to our nation. Our foreign guests were exposed to extreme heat. The microphone could not work. Microphone could not even work. I don't know whether or not there was, something set aside for the guests. It was a national disgrace. There has not been any accountability to what happened to the money whatsoever. I believe Chairman Tarpeh will agree it was during the honeymoon. So Chairman Tarpeh is not demanding accountability from those who were in charge of the inaugural program that embarrassed our nation. Chairman Tarpeh has no interest in that, probably because it was during the honeymoon period. Now, let me bring another little twist to this. He talked about commitment to integrity. So let's talk about that. The United Party government has committed to transparency, and we must hold ourselves to the highest standard. Chairman Tarpeh is talking about transparency and that they should hold themselves to the highest standard. Chairman Tarpeh, this is one of the things that we complain about as citizens of Liberia during the CDC route. Number one, then President Weah was traveling with huge delegation. Number two, President Weah travels, the budget was never known, or the budgets were never known. The cost of those trips were never known to the Liberian people. It was all shrouded in secrecy. To this date, we cannot tell or point to any cost, any budget, any expenditure for any of the trips of large delegations that President Weah made when he was president. There was one he made for 45 days when he had gone to, I think it was Qatar, to watch the World Cup where his son was playing. 45 days, the president was out of the country. He traveled to many countries on that trip. The delegation was huge. There was one he made to, I think Russia. All right, that was 100 man delegation. We don't know how much it cost us. There was another one to China when they talk about a $1 billion mineral swap. When Samuel 12 has changed a ticket in Ghana and spent 25,000 United States dollars. That trade, we don't know how much it cost the Liberian people to this day. It was all straddled in secrecy. So, Mr. Tarpeh, you talking about transparency? What about your party exhibiting this standard of, because his words, the United Party government has committed to transparency, and we must hold ourselves to the highest standard of transparency. At some point, President Bouaka was about to travel, and the delegation was 26 people, and they came under sharp criticism. They turned around and said it was 9 people. At the end of the day, they made a trade with the very 26 people. They never cut it down. So the point I'm making is the government is never clear on how many persons making trade. Their most recent trade, let me give them credit, because of our criticism, all right, they released a list on the Executive Mansion website. I give them credit for that. But what they didn't do is they did not tell us the total number of persons. They only listed the government officials who were on that trip. And then they said other security details, media personnel, and so, no, tell us how many persons exactly. They did not tell us. That is not transparency. We didn't know how many media personnel they went with. We don't know how many security they went with. We don't know how many personal staff they went with. They didn't tell us. They only said, and security and media personnel. How many? We never got to know to this day. They didn't tell us. Why? What are they hiding? Because they don't want us to know that they are carrying similarly high delegation on these trips, and they are repeating the very mistakes or the very thing that we criticize that President we did. This is business as usual. So what is the transparency? That's on the number of persons on the trip. Now, that comes to the cost. To this day, President Bouaka has made about 9 trips based on my counting since he became president. In 9 months, he made about 9 trips outside of Liberia. Of those trips, we have not gotten a single cost of any of the trips. That is not transparency. That is not transparency. But again, Mr. Tarpeh wants us to believe it was during the honeymoon period. So, Mr. Tarpeh, this is what I want to say to you. Going forward, can we now know the cost of each trip that the president is going to make now that the honeymoon is over? Trust of the Liberian people. Let's talk about the trust the Liberian people put in the Unity Party. The chairman talked about it. Unquote. The Liberian people have placed their trust in the Unity Party to lead the fight against corruption and bring about real change. One of the real changes that we want to see, Mr. Tarpeh, is a full disclosure of the total number of persons on the delegation of the president when he's traveling. We want to also change a very, very small delegation and not last delegation, as was in the case with President Weah. We also want to see the cost of these trips being published. We also want to get the itinerary. We also want to see the government agenda, the government plan, the government strategy, the government reason for traveling. We also want to know. That will be transparency. Now, we are talking about assets recovery. The government launched, the president, through an executive order, created the Office of Assets Recovery and Restitution, and so on and so forth. Many people on our committee have resigned. Many people criticize the person he made the head. Their first move was to be in the streets of Moria trying to seize cars from people. And the court stopped them because it was not done properly. And ever since then, this particular assets recovery team went into coma. They're virtually dead. No one knows what they're up to as we speak. Chairman Tarpeh, you're talking about the fight against corruption? Here we are. Now it comes to the chairman, former chairman, Amin Monda, you are speaking. What about what's happening at the LTA? What about the Minister of Public Works appearing before the legislature and admitting that the $22 million actually should have gone through the legislature, and they did not do so, and it was in violation of our PFM law. What about that? Can there be accountability? Hello? What about the then acting Minister of Finance, Mr. Myers, also appearing before the legislature and basically almost like admitting without knowing that the budget was being fingered? Can there be accountability? And the most shameful thing is when I heard a rescue senator in Darius DeLong telling us that this minister should write a letter of apology and then publish it in the newspapers and pay a $5,000 fine for fingering or altering the national budget. That is a law that was passed by the national legislature. Folks at the Ministry of Finance alter the budget, and at the time, Minister Myers was in charge. The Senate Investigative Committee revealed that folks at the Ministry of Finance under the leadership of then acting Minister Myers fingered the budget, a violation of the budget law or the law. The rescue senator is saying the man should apologize and the man should pay $5,000 fine. So I ask the question, the $5,000 fine, where should it come from? From his salary or from the budget of the Ministry of Finance? And who's gonna receive that fine? Where is it going to be paid? To the very government? He's a representation of the government. So you fine in the Waka government, and the Waka government take the Liberian people money and pay fine for violating our law. And that is accountability. And Chairman Tarpeh has nothing whatsoever to say as chairman of a political party that is in charge of our government. And now he sees our Mumoda and he feels he's strong. Really. He's going to lecture us about accountability. He wants to lecture us about transparency. He wants to lecture us about the trust of the Liberian people. The trust of the Liberian people is being betrayed right here, right now. So he said another thing, that the Unity Party government now, the Unity Party, the political party, will now be the watchdog going forward. Why you were not watchdog from day one? Why you want to be watchdog now? Okay, he answered the question. For the honeymoon is over, we're going to be watchdog. There's a time we allow corruption. There's a time we allow bad practices. There's a time we allow insensitivity. There's a time we allow violation of our laws and we'll say nothing. And there's a time to stop it. And this is the time. This is what exactly he's telling us. Going forward, we will play the watchdog for the fight against corruption. He's making a promise. You made a first promise that you will rescue the Liberian people. The Liberian people have not been rescued. Members or some members of your government are allotting to themselves fabulous salaries. Now, let me talk a little bit about the budget. The budget tells us the priorities of the government. The budget tells us whether this government means well for the people and is actually here to rescue the people. The Unity Party budget cuts health care. The Unity Party budget cuts education. How can you rescue the education sector when you are cutting the budget? How can you rescue the healthcare sector when you are cutting the budget? And here is the other one. The Unity Party government cut county development funds. This one is shameful. Sally and Sally, those who listen to me who may not know, since the time of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf to President Weah, the Liberian government have been allotting a pitiful 200,000 for county development funds in Liberia for the development of our counties. You know, the social needs of the counties, schools. The counties need electricity. The county tools need government services centers. But 200,000 since Ellen time is what they've been putting in the budget. 200,000 United States dollars for the development of our counties. What can that do? It is no secret why the counties are like villages, especially my home county of Grand Crew County. If you go to Barclayville, it's one of the biggest villages in our nation, a capital city, dusty all up, and nothing has happened, even though Unity Party had 12 years, and they budgeted $200,000 every year for the 12 years, and they could not ensure transparency and accountability on that very $200,000. And Chairman Tarpeh wants to lecture us about transparency and accountability. Transparency and accountability, my fault. And he's lecturing us that they will become a watchdog. But this is the point I wanted to make about this budgeting. Hello, listen well. This Unity Party shamefully caught, reduced that pitiful $200,000 for county development fund. They cut it from $200,000 to $186,000. A Joseph Walker government has done this to our counties. The budget is being drafted by Unity Party through the Ministry of Finance. It is the Unity Party's budget. That is the fact. And Unity Party has representatives and senators. They do the appropriation of the budget. They do the finalization of the budget. In the Senate, the Unity Party is the Unity Party is like the head. It's the leadership of the Senate is basically headed by the rescue government. Senator Nyamli Kanka supported the rescue mission. Darius DeLong, and she is the Senate Pro Tem. She is the leader of the Senate. She and Joseph Walker are in the same boat. They are on the same page. And this is a rescue government budget that reduces a pitiful $200,000 that is meaningless to develop any county in Liberia to $186,000. If that does not tell you that this government pronouncement of rescuing the people is just, what should I call it? It's just a slogan. It's just deceit and pure lies and nothing else but lies. How you tell us you get to rescue the people and you cut 200,000 to 186,000? You cut education, you cut healthcare, and what did they do? They increase the salaries and benefits and budget of the legislature. And who are in the legislature? Unity Party government, Unity Party partisans are there. They made the decision. Who drafted the budget? Unity Party government drafted the budget that made these cuts, these significant cuts to these very critical sectors in our country. How does that represent a rescuing of the people of Liberia? And Chairman Tarpeh is now making noise about press conference and so on and so forth. Let me bring you a political twist that suggests some wranglings in this Unity Party. So, let's ask Mr. Tarpeh some questions here. Why did the chairman find the need to do this? Can any of you answer the question? Why did the chairman find the need to have a press conference? Because Amumunda is or has gotten or the Unity Party government has gotten $100,000+ car for Amumunda. The very Unity Party government has gotten $45,000 each for all of the lawmakers in Liberia. Hey, bro, I'm on my show. I'll call you. All right. The very Unity Party government has made available $45,000 for lawmakers. The Unity Party government did. President Walker could pour his foot down. And another big one I must tell you is that the Unity Party government increased recovering expenses. You know what that means? The Unity Party is spending 95% plus of the budget to run the government. The total money the government of Unity Party set aside to improve the human and material condition of our people is a pitiful $51 million. The budget that they passed is around $600 million. Out of that $600 million, only $51 million is intended to spend to improve the human condition of our people. What they call capital investment, roads, bridges, electricity, and so on and so forth. $51 million is what the Unity Party set aside. If you compare that to George Weah, President Weah's last budget, what is set aside was for $150 million. So even a CEC government that was condemned corrupt, and I agree, they were corrupt, set aside more money for capital investment compared to the people that came to rescue us. So if George Weah could make more money available to improve human condition in Liberia, and the rescue government is making far less, 2 times less than what, I mean, come to think about it. Does it suggest anything called rescuing our people in any shape and form? It is a lie because it does not exist. So the question I'm asking, why did Chairman Tarpeh find the need to do this? Having press conference for what? This press conference, what is this about? Why is he trying to accomplish with the press conference? Here's the thing. I don't know if some of you remember, the election of Chairman Tarpeh to become chairman of the Unity Party was a big surprise to the whole nation. Amin Munda was chairman. Mo Ali was chairman. Election was coming. Unity Party was not happy with itself. Chairman Tarpeh, then Chairman Amin Munda wanted to maintain his chairmanship, just as Mo Ali wanted to maintain his position as Secretary General. And they did not get the endorsement of Mr. Bwaka. And they went to that convention. I think it was an extraordinary convention. Surprisingly, Chairman Tarpeh became victorious. He defeated Chairman Amin Munda. He said that there is something that he has against Amin Munda because there was patron honor. There was something about the fact that the different explanation, excuses he was making. There's Sylvester Grispe, and now we talk about Giddings, about the $22 million, Mamaka ability, about the gentleman agreement, the bosses issue, and maybe another gentleman agreement, and so on and so forth. We're talking about what's his name? What's the guy's name? Assistant Minister for Urban Development. Was this journalist, who said that they will murder what's his name, Yeke Koluba. All right, why is this guy's name, man? Why am I forgetting this guy's name? He says something very, very, very embarrassing. Somebody help me with Manjabate. Threatening to murder and beat a sitting lawmaker. And Chairman Tarpeh had nothing to say. And the APRC boss giving out, all kinds of packages to people in the need of, of some kind of social responsibility to some citizens, with no accountability and transparency whatsoever. Jabate said that, and Chairman Tarpeh had nothing to say. But now it's Amin Munda, and this man is strong. And he defeated Amin Munda. Is it that he has something against Amin Munda or what? Because if you look at it, this is a very Unity Party that made a decision through its government to get the car for Amin Munda. A very insensitive decision. And that's why he's criticizing, just as they have made a very insensitive decision to give $45,000 to each lawmaker. I think we have 103 lawmakers in our government. If you multiply that by 45,000, we're talking millions of dollars here that they dish out. And Chairman Tarpeh had nothing to say because why? That's the almighty legislature. So here's the thing. Has he now seen the car the APRC boss is driving? Is he not seeing the car the MPA boss driving? Is he not seeing all the expensive cars? And if this man is serious, that there shouldn't be, luxurious cars, expensive cars being used as government officials, why can't he talk to the president for him to issue an executive order that we're not going to be buying cars for government officials? These people are being paid the fattiest salary you can think about in the world. They can use that money to get their own cars. As of today, we cut the whole car things off. We're not buying cars for no government officials. If President Tarpeh is serious about it, why he can't do that? Huh? Why can't he do that? So, does he have something against Ami Mona? So what is Tarpeh trying to accomplish? And did he actually achieve that? There were other Unity Party partisans that were involved in similar thing. He did not have press conference on the Sylvester Grace Bay situation. He's yet to have a press conference on the assets recovery thing. We believe there are several thousands of dollars given to the assets recovery team. They have now recovered a penny. Martin Colley resigned. What's the guy name? I think Emmanuel, the guy from the EFA, he was on that assets recovery. He resigned. So many things have happened. Myers, the budgeting, he didn't have press conference. But now it's Ami Mona who he defeated in the Unity Party. Now he's having a press conference. Does he have anything personal against Ami Mona? What is the difference of Ami Mona car compared to the legislature that the Unity Party is part of and other government officials? What is the difference? Is that a solution to have a press conference and hear about Ami Mona should come and clear his name? Why he didn't call on Minister Myers to come and clear his name on the budget fingering thing based on the Senate report? Hello? Why did he not call on what's his name, Patrick Hunter, to come and clear his name on the fabulous salaries that he's getting, about $3,000 for generator? Why he did not call on? Why he didn't go a press conference to call on Patrick Hunter to come and clear his name? Huh? So our man Darling Warwood did the math here. He said 103 lawmakers. Yep, 103 lawmakers. Thanks there for that correction. I appreciate that. It's $4.6 million. $4.6 million. And why United Party people gave to these lawmakers? These people already have cars. It's not that they don't have cars. The money they're making is enough for them to get their own cars. United Party giving that kind of amount. They even reduce it to $10,000 for them to get a car and pay for the rest from their pocket. 103 lawmakers, than $45,000, according to our man, and thank you again, $4.7 million. Ami Mona own Avon, he sees now, he said he's strong. And he talked about Ami Mona behavior is dragging the name of Unity Party under the mud. Really? Is Unity Party name being dragged under the mud by Ami Mona? If it is true that the party's name is being dragged under the mud by Ami Mona, is Ami Mona is the only person who is doing this? What's about the situation with My Jabaten? What's the situation at LTA? And now we have a report that came out that this government has been engaged in off-budget spending. And in the off-budget spending that they have done, folks, they spend money on miscellaneous and no accountability whatsoever. Miscellaneous expenditure, no accountability whatsoever, people. They spend money and it cannot be accounted for. Off-budget spending. Those money cannot be accounted for, folks. This is what this government has done. Where is Chairman Tarpeh on this issue? And let me give the figures to you. Here's the breakdown. 2.3 million US dollar unexplained miscellaneous. That's why Unity Party government did. I'll bring the figure to you here quickly for you to see. All right. I'll bring the figure here to you for you to see quickly. All right. And then I'll read the rest to you. Here it is. $2.3 million USD on unexplained miscellaneous. The Unity Party government spent $2.3 million. They can't explain to us what they use the money for. Chairman Tarpeh is aware of this report. Chairman Tarpeh is aware of this report. He has nothing to say. That is not the only one. Let me bring you another figure. 2 million USD for NSA covert operation. You want me to bring that figure to you? I can do that. Is Chairman Tarpeh pretending to not be aware of this? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is, folks. 2 million USD for NSA covert operations. They can't tell us what the covert operation is about. And they spend their money in 9 months. In 9 months, they spent $2 million on so-called covert operation. Is Liberia on surveillance for terroristic threat? Attack? We don't have any threat against the nation Liberia. None of our neighbors is threatening to evade us. There's no threat to assassinate our president whatsoever. And who are the NSA security agents spending their money? What kind of intelligence are they gathering? On what? Liberia is not at any war with anybody. There's no threat. The threats we have, our youth. And here's the thing. This government reduced the budget to fight illicit drugs in Liberia. Even though the president declared the fight against drugs as a national emergency, but then they cut the money. Hello? They also spend 1.5 million USD on a House of Representatives for special sitting fees. Are you paying attention? $1.5 million for the lawmakers for special sitting. Chairman Tarpeh sat there supposedly, and his party, his government, spent $1.5 million on the House of Representatives alone. The House of Representatives alone, on a so-called special sitting. He didn't call press conference. He didn't demand transparency and accountability. He didn't talk about whether the Liberian people trust has been betrayed. And you think that is not enough? So then 812,612 US dollars. So 812,000, almost $1 million spent on our 30 senators for special sitting. Hello. The United Party government also spent 65,000 USD, and the money was spent by the Ministry of State for the funeral of Thomas Dona. The Ministry of Presidential Affairs spent $65,000 on the funeral of Thomas Dona, the former boss of the Revenue Authority, LRA. How do you spend 65,000 US dollars to bury somebody? I mean, those listening to me, think about it. $65,000 to bury somebody. Thomas Dona have been working. He has a family. But the government of Waka chose to bury him and spend $65,000 to bury somebody in Liberia. The government also spent $191,000 for president's contribution to the Muslim community. They took $191,000 of our country money and gave it to President Waka to put it in his pocket and go give it to the Muslim community in Liberia. They are distributing buffet. This is what they done. Where was Chairman Tarpeh on that? We got the numbers. We got the facts. $191,000 is what they took. They placed it in President Waka's hand to go and give it to the Muslim community. How many Muslim people will benefit from that money? Distributing buffet. Where was Chairman Tarpeh on that? You think that is enough? 250 USD was used by the Ministry of State for payment towards completion of the VIP lounge. They spent $250,000 to renovate and complete the VIP lounge. They spent $30 United States dollars on the Ministry of State's contribution to associate Justice Namwe's funeral. So for Thomas Dona funeral, they gave $65,000 US because that's where they can collect the money. LRA, he was the boss, so they gave $65,000. For Justice Namwe, he was at the judiciary branch of government, so they gave $30,000. So one government official is more important than the other. This is why the United Party government is telling us. Someone do now that life is more important, is more value, is more significant than former Justin Namwe. So for Thomas Dodna, send I play, we can collect the money and do whatever we want. Let's spend $65 million. Then for Justin Namwe, they're getting $30,000, man. That's what they did. Where was Chairman Tarpeh? Why he didn't have a press conference? Chairman Tarpeh, are you listening? They also spent 28,000 USD to renovate, for the VP office for operation. I don't know what kind of operation going on at the VP office. $25,000 US dollar, what they took, rather. They give it to Vice President Kuhn. They say, my man, yeah, for special operation. Can Chairman Tarpeh tell us the special operation that the Vice President has to carry on, for which they gave him $25,000 in addition to what's been budgeted for him to spend? Can they help us with that? That is not enough. They spent 1.1 million USD to the EPS for buying ammo, for buying arm and unarmed, all right, for ammo rather, for the president and vice president. Now, what that means is they bought 2 bulletproof cars, one for President Bouaka and one for Vice President Joseph Yuma Bouaka. So he having press conference because Amin Monda has demonstrated insensitivity and poor judgment. And in fact, it was not Amin Monda on this. The money came from LRA. Double Jara is aware. They gave the money, and the money came from a business that Amin Monda should be regulating. Over 196,000 naira came from Mentec, and the Liberian government added money on it and got this car for this man to use, and he using it. And you having press conference for that, and his man should come and clear his name. But the government spent, let me look at the figure again. The government spent 1.1 million United States dollars to buy bulletproof car for President Bouaka and Vice President Kuhn. Hello? So why didn't you have press conference on the president buying bulletproof car and the vice president buying bulletproof car? Do they need bulletproof car? Is somebody chasing them? Because Chairman Tarpeh on happening here is that money is too much for car. How could Amin Monda do that? And this is dragging the party name under the mud. And it's concerning to the party and the country. And he's talking about there shouldn't be no business as usual. But here is the president buying a bulletproof car. And then here's the vice president. They're also getting him a bulletproof car. Both put together 1.1 million US dollars. President Weah had a bulletproof car that he left behind. He didn't take it. Why the president can't use it? How is that not insensitive? Why couldn't the chairman call a press conference? We still have more figures. 250,000, that's $250,000 to the Disaster Management Agency for recovery operation of miners trapped in reverses. And they also spend $41,000 for PPCC statutory mandate, 61,000 US dollar for LDA operation. So I will stop there. But let me talk about the LDA operation. The LDEA, they gave them $61,000 for special operation, even though they have their budget. I believe that special operation was maybe to boss these drugs people, dealing and all that. They gave them that money. And, one more thing that is justifiable because the drugs been all over the place. And to their credit, based on the figures that I have, they have been busting some drugs dealers in the country. Whether or not when they announce that they are burning some of these drugs is actually true, that is why we are focused on Liberia not being able to verify. But quite clearly, they have this, numerous arrests, a lot of arrests, for substances that are in several millions of dollars. All right. So we give them credit for carrying on those raids. And then, so that special operation might be justifiable. And so they give them about $61,000 for those special operations that they carry on. So where was Chairman Tarpeh? What is Chairman Tarpeh trying to accomplish here? All right. Does the chairman press conference speak more to the internal wrangling in the Unity Party? There might be some internal wrangling in the Unity Party here, because some people did similar thing. He said nothing. It came to Army Munda, the man he defeated. Now he's all over the place. He's talking about honeymoon is over. He's talking about no business as usual. I just narrated to you several businesses as usual being carried on by this government. And so, folks, we thought to do a concise analysis of Chairman Tarpeh's press conference, in which he's calling on Amin Munda to come and clear his name, because his government has gotten over $100,000 cash for Amin Munda's use, and that money came from a business that Amin Munda should be regulating. The chairman believed that this is corruption to the core. He said this represents a textbook definition of corruption. But we have seen similar and even worse in so many places. For example, the miscellaneous expenditure that is unexplained that we mentioned about, and you all listen to the presentation here. Why didn't the chairman call press conference? The chairman is talking about they're going to be the watchdog and no business as usual, that the honeymoon is over. So we wait to see. And he promising that there will be more. Let me share something with the chairman. CDC was in power, and there was a guy called, or he's still being called, Mamba Molu. He was the chairman of CDC. He too tried to do similar thing that Chairman Tarpeh is doing. He had, I think, 2 press conferences, I remember, where he criticized his own government. He talking about people getting rich overnight and that they should return, and people acquiring property, to building homes. To his credit, Mamba Molu mustered the courage and had a press conference and criticized his own political party. But that very Mamba Molu, he has never been happy with, the conduct of some of the government officials in the CDC government. You remember when the audio leak, when he was talking about, the president will travel out of the country and bring money and take the money to his house. He's giving jobs to girlfriends and so on and so forth, and they were considered as a Laker talk and so on and so forth. So when he decided to take a stand against acts of corruption in the government, what happened? He fell off with President Weah. He was never seen as the legitimate president, a chairman of the party, to the point that at the end of the day, he had to resign. So I hope Chairman Tarpeh knows what he's doing. He protested against the president for job, and now his press conference is actually trying to highlight some level of insensitivity, and the cloud of corruption that hangs over the government, even though quite clearly he's been selective here, because Amin Munda is not the only one who has carried on very questionable dealing here. And, he can't point to the president. So Chairman Tarpeh should know what he's up to. He promised that there will be more. We want to see more. And he's also being called upon to resign because he has a job with the government. He's chairman of the board. And the secretary is also still the secretary. That is Mr. Twer at FPRC. He has a job. The party is calling on the law. Relinquish your job as party officials and focus on your roles in government. The question I want to ask is this the party's responsibility? The individuals he's talking about, Amin Munda, he's talking about, Amin Munda exercised this poor judgment as an official of government and not necessarily as a party member. But he, as a party member, is now having press conference about a government official's behavior. I thought he should speak to the Minister of Justice that there should be an investigation to ascertain the facts and see what decision they can take, or the president can make a decision here. Hello? But for the party chairman to be swinging for similar thing that happened to other government officials in the government, and he said nothing, and today now he's swinging, I really don't know who should actually be talking about that. I'm not saying he's wrong, but I'm just questioning the rationale and what he's trying to accomplish here. And how often is he going to do this? Is he actually going to be the watchdog that he promising he's going to be? Should the party chairman be focusing on the agenda of the party? They have the rescue mission, the budget of these critical areas that being highlighted by the arrest mission. These areas as the budget being cut down. For example, healthcare. They're cutting healthcare down. Transparency and accountability, they are complete flap. Education, is part of the arrest agenda. They cut the education budget. I thought these are the things the chairman should be, revising the party, making the party strong. But he's focused on government. I know that's his right, but his role as a party chairman is to make sure that the party is strong and robust. But the way he conducted himself, injecting himself on accountability issues, directly through a party press conference, maybe he's right. Some people might agree he's doing the right thing. At least he's speaking out, whereas 99.9% of Unity partisans are quiet and silent as though they don't know what's going on. Some of them have turned to motivational speakers. They don't see corruption anymore. They don't see the abuse of power anymore. They don't see the violation of our laws anymore. They are quiet. And this is what these people do. And you all celebrate them. You all justify for them. Those of you who support them, to be specific, now out of you, most of you who support them, there are people making excuses for President Bouaka today for these trips he's making. You had a man getting bulletproof car for himself and a VP. You had a man cutting budget for education and healthcare. You had a man cutting budget for county development funds. People are going to justify that. People are not going to criticize that. People are going to be quiet about it. They're going to be murmuring in the back end because it is their party. It is their party leaders. They don't care about what's happening to the country. But when they're not in power, then they know what's happening to the country. These bad choices, unforced errors, poor judgments, acts of corruption, violations of our laws, and corrupt practices being carried on by these people, affecting our nation and the United Party people. And some of you who support the United Party, you are quiet or stay justifying this bad behavior that you condemned yesterday. How do we move forward? How do we turn the page? How do we achieve the change that's been promised? How do we rescue the people that the United Party promised to rescue when these people are still struggling? Let me give you a news. The president of Burkina Faso reduced all government official salaries by 30% and increased civil servant salary by 50%. Can President Bouaka do that? I challenge him to increase civil servant salary by 50% and reduce all government official salary by 30%. He can't do that. I challenge him to do so. In Gabon, the military leader there, he chastised all his government officials and condemned them that they did not perform. And he gave them 6-month ultimatum to perform. And if they don't perform, he will cut all of them loose. Do you know what else he did? He eliminated 100% all government purse or purse to government officials. In other words, benefits, cars, and everything. The Burkina Faso president refused the presidential motorcade. He said he doesn't need it. President Bouaka is increasing his motorcade with a bulletproof car. 2 cars, by the way, worth over $100 million. I mean, worth over $1 million. That's what he's doing. Where is the rescue? Where is the change? They promised that they will hit the ground running. Their budget does not tell us that. They are doubling down on the same old ugly ways of governing our country. And this has become nothing short of business as usual. The textbook definition of corruption is at full play. You give $1.1 million to representative for special city What is the definition of special sitting? Why you can't commit $1.1 million to the libraries in all our public schools in Liberia, that there should be functional computers and internet so that the young people of Liberia can get engaged, and give that money to useless special sitting, to lawmakers, representatives, to do what? To absolutely do nothing. Now improve the human condition of our people. And you think you are a serious government and people are supposed to clap. And some of you sit here and say it's too early. It's too early, but they are taking these fast salaries. It's too early, but they are making these lavish trips. And they don't explain to us, they don't even show us the cost of these trips. It's too early. Some of them making $15,000. Some of them making $8,000. It's too early, but they can do that. I'm sorry to say the hour of politics focused on Liberia. We thought to bring you a unique and biting analysis on Press Chairman Luther Tarpeh's press conference, where he went after Ami Modai and demanding that he should clear his name in what is an insensitivity that he displayed by allowing a over $100,000 car to be purchased for his use. So folks, until we see you again, when we do, that was another analysis here from us here at Focus on Liberia on our program, The Hour of Politics. The music or the song that is taking us home says, "We are all Liberians." And until we catch you again, enjoy the song, "We Are All Liberians." And I hope I was able to provide some critical analysis of the chairman's press conference. Thank you for watching. Don't hesitate to share with somebody to watch later. And bye-bye. Enjoy the song.
We are Liberians.